Hail Satan, everybody. This is my Ministry of Infernal Affairs Sinful Sunday broadcast. Glad to be back. Broadcasting from the National Office YouTube channel. Thanks to the new subscribers and stuff. We got a feeling this is going to actually take off pretty good. Actually, 100% sure of that. It's already happening. A satanic current is what it is, and a satanic current is the way it stays with the Brotherhood all the time. But today we're going to be in our Sinful Sunday broadcast from the Ministry of Infernal Affairs. We're going to be talking about Satanic Leadership Etiquette. And I'd like to discuss both online etiquette and offline etiquette as leaders. There's a reason I feel like we should be coming up with this discussion right now. Yes, the Brotherhood's in the act of formulating a leadership conference with all theistic Satanists. You have to be a theistic Satanist of some note, some mention, that's been around a while, that other leaders also respect. So we're going to actually focus on bringing together some theistic leadership into a conference for leadership, which we feel is going to be a good thing for both online and offline community. It's time for this offline and online community to come together as one. It's time. The online community and social networking, kudos to Facebook and some of the other social networks. The online community has done good to felicitate bringing some of us together to where we can make formal connections with people. Drew and the Brotherhood has always had a better, far-reaching idea about this concept and the usage of the internet to bring people together in networking areas. Okay. And we feel like the whole idea of the networking areas has always been for one thing, and that was to bring us together into a world community, right? There you go. And that's true. That's the only reason we would want to have a inner world connection going on, networking connection with the whole world. It's really important to utilize this gift the Saints gave us. And I say it's a satanic gift, and it is. So our leadership conference, which will be being broadcast most likely right here from our YouTube channel from the national office, but our podcast, which is called Brimstone. And we are going to be inviting, the very best in satanic leadership to this conference. And hopefully, a lot of people from the outside and online world as well will want to come on, and watch what we have to say. Okay, because we're going to be discussing Satanism going into the future. But without all the backbiting that's been going on the type of a stereotypical leader in Satanism or anywhere else on the planet, for that matter, that's more about themselves. That's all they're about, completely about just themselves. We're looking for leadership that really see the whole picture. Okay. As Satanists, we already acknowledge our individuality and our self, right? And our self-power as a Satanist, as an individual Satanist, following and believing in satanic philosophy. And then also added to that, for those of us that are practical Satanists, meaning that we practice the satanic witchcraft and satanic magic arts, we also are doing all that as well to felicitate all this. Because we want to have offline events, right, from our online connections. This is the whole idea going into the future. So you want to have the knowledge part of it too, the gnosis part of your satanic being or persona as an organization, right? So to have offline events, well, you got to have magical practices, satanic practices they do, at these events. That's what you want to be felicitating. Satanic ritual practices being shared, a whole bunch of people coming together that are Satanists, all as individuals first, but being able to teach each other stuff. Wow. And there's a vision Satan really has. It's not just a vision for Satan, no, it's a vision for all of us if we're smart enough to see that. Okay, so that's why we found that satanic etiquette, online and offline, that we discuss right now. There's a timing to things on our planet. Hell, yes, there is. Little black coffee, like Drew's Black Salt. Welcoming some demons to come in for the discussion. So the etiquette has to be discussed as far as leadership and Satanism goes, both online and offline. You can't just say we're just going to talk about etiquette offline or just etiquette online, right? The idea is, as a Satanist leader, to be consistent online and offline. Okay. So don't be somebody that you create yourself to be online unless you're that offline already. You have to be that. That's what growing and becoming a Satanist means anyway. But you're already physically in your offline life, right? Your offline physical life are a practicing and believing Satanist. That's important. Number one should be the number one thing. So when you're out representing yourself as a leader on the internet, a satanic gift to us all, then you're really who you're supposed to be, who you really are, right? I mean, the whole internet's full of charlatans and frauds and fake people. They like to use the Brotherhood name all the time or steal the Illuminati Council name, but who knows what, right? Okay. So there's reasons why we say the things we're telling everybody right now. Present yourself as who you really are. That's really, really important. So you take a step above that in online representation as a satanic leader. And that's going to be you're creating yourself in the brand and image of Lilith or Satan or something. Well, yeah. The image that you want to project out there to people, right? Your vibe attracts your tribe. We said this in earlier videos, and Drew probably will always keep saying that to you. All that really, really matters. The vibe you're putting off, people are going to feel what you are, if you're legitimate or not. They're going to know if you earned to wear a Masonic ring or Scottish Rite antique ring, Or my brother his name said I should have on when I'm doing this video. People will know from your vibration as a leader who you are. And that's what it should be made into an example, right? So remember, human beings follow the five senses. So one of those senses is visual. Okay. And you could also add to the senses of sight, touch, hearing, and all, smell. To add to that, your psychic feelings, okay? The intuition that you feel as a satanic witch, right, or satanic magician. Add that in there too. That's important. Add that to it. And you've got to present yourself as who you really are, okay? So to be a respected leader, you want to be somebody that walks the walk. You're not out here on film. You're not out here on the internet collecting friends and all that bullshit, okay? Real Satanists, we're out here, but we're out here for people to find us, not because we want to recruit or that we're seeking attention. Again, that's very generational satanic thought form pattern. Very, very much so. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Okay. And with the Brotherhood, it would be the very best of Satanism that we would be interested in. You know, we're not looking for followers. The Church of Satan can handle that the hell they want to, have as many followers as they want. We want to see Satanists actually self-empowering themselves and going off and being satanic leadership. And even if later on down the line they didn't stay a member of the Brotherhood of Satan, but they've accomplished quite a bit, got out there on their own and started their own movement or whatever, we would be 666% behind them and support them. We would encourage any Brotherhood of Satan member that does anything accomplishable that's really commendable, and they actually are walking the walk. It's not a competition. There's where in Satanism and leadership, far too often we get off the wrong path, get onto the wrong path, right? Well, remember, we should always stay in the left-hand path of Satanism. Okay. Not everybody's going to do things exactly the same way we are. But that doesn't mean we have to, even if we disagree with it, we can still support their personal efforts and say, okay, well, on the personal level, I respect that you're, and that word respect's important. I respect that you're doing something on behalf of the satanic movement. Now, there's always going to be two kinds of leaders, though. Remember what Drew told you a little bit earlier. You're going to find the ones that are really in infernal service. It's not about them, just like me, like Drew. It's not about Drew. It's about infernal service and bringing infernal service into being, which means being in infernal service. When you're actually doing it, again, don't misrepresent yourself online. Present yourself as somebody you're not. Okay. An organization such as ours, where we want to bring people together without recruiting, of course, when we want to bring the right people together, and Satan and the demons know the timing for that better than any one human being would ever know, right? Because it's the time to put Satan back on the throne. Okay. There's more to say about what I just said, those words, and I might get chewed out by the council a little bit. I just said that openly. But this discussion will probably be ongoing as we go into the future. Okay. Satan is the God of this earth, God of this world, nature's God, has been described so many ways, which takes him very, very far back on his entity. Generational Satanists know that Satan is basically his God. Okay, to us, that's always been our God for him. That's how long we can go back with it. So you move back beyond an invention of any Christian or early Roman Catholic Church, right? Inventing Satan as being the accuser and writing him into their book, their Bible, and all that crap, right, as the accuser and so on and so forth. And then they, of course, they had the New Testament take all the magic from the Old Testament out of it, of course, tried to. And then move into the New Testament where, of course, Satan is trying to tempt Jesus and blah, blah, blah. Now realize something. There's some serious shit to take into consideration with that one. I kind of had good fun with that one. A good satanic fun, as I call it. Okay, with that one. Because you had to look at the whole picture. Oh, wow, really? Satan was tempting Jesus? And Satan was telling Jesus all the riches of this earth are his? And that those who follow him or believe in him, and I mean 666%, believe in Satan, that Satan has the power to do undescribable things for us as Satanists, as true believers. Okay? Because if in that whole fucking story, I'll call it that, okay? still trying to be objective, although I dislike Christianity. I definitely dislike the early Roman Catholic Church for killing a lot of my ancestors. Boy. But like I said, it's so funny that you can take some of their work and go, wow, look at the whole picture of what's really being said there. It's really being said right there. Okay. So there's a lot of reasons where we would move into talking about satanic leadership right now. And yes, within the Brotherhood of Satan, we constantly are talking about satanic leadership because we want our own leadership in our organization, to become up as leaders and to start thinking as leaders do. There's times when, they may have gone through school of instruction, they've reached high infernal clergy, they're high priest and high priestess. But learning the actual other part of it as a leader, there's more to it than going through that, right? There's actually living the leadership etiquette, right? Or a way of life as a Satanist, offline especially. There's a way to live, right? So sometimes the etiquette needs to be done too, right? And the education on this is what a satanic leader really is. This is how satanic leaders think. A satanic leader, for example, they're going to get on, they may be lucky, they may be fairly well known, right? And so people out there on the internet or in the world today may say, oh, hell, I want to interview people, or I want to have an interview with one of the Brotherhood of Satan, clergy members. When that happens for you, be a smart enough clergy member to take the opportunities, right? And when the name Brotherhood of Satan comes up as an organization you dedicated yourself to with your own blood and moved up into the high clergy with, take the opportunity to say something good. That's good PR. That understand what word public relations means too when it comes to being a satanic leader. Those two words, public relations. Now, the Brotherhood of Satan is a lot different of an organization because we expect our leadership to also represent us. Because all in all, that's the real truth of life. You always hear the words, well, who you hang with, it makes you look like them. Well, sure, when in Rome, you look like a Roman. Okay. Make sure the people you hang with are the right people too, and make sure that they are out for self-empowering others, right? And for self-empowerment for themselves, first and foremost. Those are important things. Satanic leadership is something that's, important, but you pick it up yourself. Remember, Satanism is individual. That's what I was saying earlier. There's no competition. Okay. There's why the Brotherhood of Satan and Drew, particularly, I'm not afraid to share leadership tips and leadership, wisdom and stuff. What would I be afraid of? Somebody using some of the things I'm passing on anyway? That's the whole idea I would do it for. They're not going to be Drew. There's no real competition in Satanism, my friends. We're all individual Satanists. Wow. And that's what we keep moving away from and thinking, we're in a constant competition with people. No two people are going to do the same thing. They can do the exact same thing, guys and girls. They can do the exact same thing. They're going to do it differently because they're two different people. Okay. So there's where the wisdom of passing on satanic leadership etiquette online and offline comes in. The Brotherhood would never worry about, well, we're giving our experience away, blah, blah, blah. No, the whole idea is develop this experience, this leadership thought forms, and leadership experience in all the other satanic leaders out there. This is the way for unity to come into being. We're a wise organization. We know what we're talking about. Okay, these things. Very, very important. Now, moving back into online representation, for example. Okay. Drew's in a lot of group pages. Some people add me to some, and a few of them I actually support the people, and that's why I'm there. And I'm there really more honorable mention than anything else. But I'm there to support them. Okay. And oftentimes in these group pages or even on a person's personal profile, it's so easy to get caught up in making a comment or a emotional response without using logic first, because somebody will say something just so idiotic, right, when it comes to Satanism, or you just don't agree with them. Okay, here's where the wisdom of leadership steps in. Real leaders aren't affected one way or the other when they can read the exact same fucking thread and we don't respond unless we really want to. But then we're making that choice. We're not influenced as a mere reaction. We've used logic first. Okay, that's what's important. Okay, so somebody's saying something, you don't have to get into a pissing match with somebody to prove a point or whatever. If you're not giving it power, which is your attention, it has no power, especially over you. And remember, over you, those words over you. What's Satanism about? The person's satanic philosophy of individualism is in its philosophical form. Everybody forgets it. Wow. So you don't even have to respond. That's good online etiquette. Okay. Keep your teaching things as a Satanist leader on your own personal profile. Okay. Unless it's a group page you've developed or your organization has developed for purposes of passing stuff on too. We have. Okay. Don't go on somebody else's turf or territory or their internet profile, okay, their cyber world, their realm, and insult them or answer a question that's been asked of them. Even if you know the answer, that answer to the question was not asked to you. There's where that word etiquette as a leader really is important. Somewhere years ago when the internet was first developed, there's some what I call pseudo satanic leaderships out there. So there's some of them out there that thought that they could cyberbully people and stuff like that, right? When the internet first started, they're pseudo Satanists. The only reason they were known was because they were bashing other people, right? It's like, wait a second. Drew comes out there into the same world, the internet world. He's going scratching his head, going, wait a second. These people bashing everybody else. They've got a label as being a Satanist, but yet I've never heard of them in many years of being an offline Satanist ever. And is that the only platform that they have? Is their sense of identity is to bash everybody else to look like somebody? Wow, that's pretty pathetic, actually. Okay, some might think it's a brilliant idea. No, that's pathetic. Okay. Anyway. So again, like I'm saying, your reaction to things is important. Okay. Drew's reaction to stuff like that when people bashed us back when we first got on the internet was magical. My reaction is not going to be, I'm never going to do a verbal. Now, I may write as a satanic leader, you may have to do this from time to time, write a disclaiming article or something, says your side of the story. Because on the other hand, as a Satanist, Drew knows, you never back down as a Satanist, right? You don't turn the other cheek, and you don't forgive and forget, So then as a Satanist, you have to say, well, look, I got to demand this because I'm a real Satanist. That's satanic leadership, right? But you're going to run into the pseudo-Satanists out there. You got to watch out for them, okay? It's telltale if their platform is bashing everybody else, okay? So watch out for that. That's one of the things that tells you got a leader out there that's, not just a pseudo-Satanist, but their ego's the size of a Grand Canyon, okay? Now, being confident in yourself and having some ego as a satanic leader that's actually made a lot of accomplishments in your time and have proved it over and over in the years of being a Satanist, that's a different story. far too often we're seeing the ones that are new Satanists out there, or they came out of Wicca, or something like that before they became a Satanist. Okay. Now remember what I did say in some of my past vids that Drew doesn't want to use our national office, Ministry of Infernal Affairs, Sinful Sunday broadcast as a bash everybody else. Okay. But this is for satanic etiquette, so I have to kind of say some of this stuff. All right. So back to satanic etiquette. So when people land on your profile online, okay, no matter what social network you're in, your vibration is what they're going to feel, right? They're going to have a visual that you put on your page. So again, think about the things you actually say, the words that come out of your mouth. Think before you do stuff, how you present yourself, even the things you share matters, okay? Even all those things. People are going to get a good sense of who you are, even if they haven't met you yet offline. But have a vibe that's not a lie. Have the vibe that's going to attract your tribe because it's the genuine, authentic current and energy that they can feel. Okay? You're not going to see real satanic leaders out there in all these different groups getting numerous motherfucking disagreements and arguments with people. I'll tell you why. Real Satanist leaders, especially the ilk like the Brotherhood, they do a lot of stuff offline. We're too busy for that baby shit. Adolescent Satanism, okay? Or pseudo Satanism, where they're not really a Satanist, but they're trying to use the Satanist in the right way and all that. And maybe some of them might end up being good Satanists later if they actually follow, some of the other satanic elders that know what they're talking about. Listen to some of their counsel and advice. And remember that a satanic elder knows our individual philosophy of Satanism. Drew does. So Drew still, as an elder, is not going to tell you, hey, listen to what Drew's telling you, and that's how you should do it, and that's the end of the story. That's it. You can't think for yourself. No, a good teacher is going to tell you, think for yourself. I'm giving you experiences from my own life, perhaps, or my own magical practices that I'm sharing with you, which is all truth and genuine, okay? And I want you to take the best out of what Drew's teaching you, take it to your own heart and soul, right, and utilize it. Again, that's how a real satanic teacher is going to teach you, okay? They're not only going to have this triangle right here, okay? They're going to have the sign of the beast, right? They're going to have a 6, a 6, and a 6. They're going to know our signs, symbols, and recognitions, and modes of operation, and modes of recognition, and all that stuff, guys. Now, it's great having an online representation. Now, where it comes hard as a satanic leader to do a lot of online stuff is where you have a life to live as well. Okay. And those things have to be taken into consideration too. And any real organization that has an administration office that knows people. Raven and I know people quite well. Okay. Been generations in our whole life. We know people very well. And you have to give people that time. Because that other growth, which is their life, is just as important as their satanic life. In fact, it's the same life. A lot of times people separate things, right? And they say, well, here's my everyday life, here's my brotherhood life. But Drew's always saying, I got 1 foot in the brotherhood world, 1 foot in the Monday world, right? The whole idea, though, is to bring them together. So when you are walking on that one path, guess what you got? You're between the worlds, but you got both of them that you're traveling. Okay. And as you develop things in the spiritual world, the physical world will be affected as well. And there's another thing people miss. Okay. When you're doing your satanic visualization, right, you're creating a thought form pattern visualization, for instance, right? And you're seeing something for your future, whether it's a career goal, something you want to do in the occult world, maybe it has to do with leadership in the occult world, or brotherhood, or satanic leadership. You know, you want to use that visualization because what you're doing then as a leader, you're creating. So do this with your projects as a satanic leader. Have a trestle board, as Freemasons would say. A drafting board has all your architecture and your geometrical stuff laid out on it, right? Well, do that with your goals that you have in your life as a Satanist. And then you're taking that visualization that you can sometimes even put it on paper. It's even cooler if you do that because you're creating a spell on paper, right? Okay. The whole part of it. But you're doing this visualization, right? To get these projects done, what you want to get done as a Satanist. Okay, so there's where it does come into your everyday life, okay? Where you're living both worlds. There you go. After a while, just the whole thing becomes a brotherhood world to me. But you're still existing in some things that are from the mundane world, as I call it, right? And having to deal with those things too. So as a Satanist leader, though, don't turn your back on the satanic visualization, like I said. Have those goals, specific things that you as a leader want to accomplish for yourself. And like I said, no, it's not being selfish. We are Satanists. We're supposed to be selfish in some ways, on a personal level. So wanting to see it do a visualization, for instance, on your future career, that's not being I'm being overly selfish. Get that shit out of your head. That's fucking Christian fucking upbringing. Christian fucking conditioning and brainwashing, guys. A Satanist is supposed to think that way about your career. Visualize it. Follow your goals. Accomplish it, right? But remember, don't just pay lip service. Actually see your goals come into a manifestation, right? So your visualization being done, your spiritual thought form pattern being built, sent out there into the universe, right? Into the spiritual room where you could say, but spiritual room, and where it gets then is transferred over here into the physical. And actually, then all of a sudden you start seeing those manifestations happening in your life. So don't be a satanic leader that cuts yourself off of that. Remember what I say about the current and the core imagine as a leader. You got to keep that intact, guys. Utilize that too. It's a plus. It's like playing a card game with people, and you're holding a high ace. Okay, you're a step ahead by having this knowledge of being a Satanist. Just like I was telling you all about the 48 laws of power, how to use them in the mundane world, how to use them as a Satanist leader. Even wow, there's a method to my madness. Get out there and be a kind of satanic leader, that people follow by example because of what you do. And, you don't get angry about that. I see people copycat and Drew all the time, okay, and stuff. But to me, it's flattering. And I'll tell you why. It's because when they're trying to duplicate you or imitate you, that means you're doing something above board and above and beyond what others are doing. Because they're actually utilizing what you're teaching as an example, basically, and they're following it and doing it, whether they're doing it under their own name, and you were the first one to talk about it or not, right? A real teacher's not going to give a shit if he's the first one to talk about it or not. He's going to go, wow, okay, I know I was the first one, but that's neither here nor there. But I see people utilizing what I've shown them. And I say it that way, showing them, teaching them. It's because I'm not really the type of teacher that says this is the required curriculum you've got to follow, right? Because as Satanists, you got to take all the best of satanic history and satanic knowledge and satanic ritual and pull the best that you can use for yourself. Wow. So a lot of my things on leadership that I talk about, they're really meant to stimulate it within your own pituitary gland. Those of you that want to be satanic leaders out there, I'll say want to be because it does take time to develop that, okay? Not being critical in an overt way. Leadership takes development. So just as an initiate, right, becomes an initiate. They get initiated. And they're developing the things they learned in the initiatic mysteries and the things they're supposed to develop as an initiate. It's the same way when you go into a higher clergy or an infernal leadership level of membership. Guess what you're doing there? You're growing into that too. And you're utilizing wise things that hopefully the Brotherhood will be given to you, right? Wise, thoughtful. Again, the Brotherhood of Satan has no intention, or my office, or myself as an individual Satanist, has no intention of telling you, do as we say. We want you to think about what we say. And to me, that's the Brotherhood best way to be as an out front way shower out there in the satanic community. That's really who we are. And we all come into being, whether it's an organization in the left-hand path or an individual person that's a practitioner, right? We're all going to come into being. There's my whole point. So in your coming into being, what kind of satanic leader do you want to be? There you go. And again, that goes back to satanic choice, which is satanic philosophy, because you determine what kind of leader you want to be, right? Be an intelligent and a wise leader. Don't be a leader that shows all they're showing mostly is ego, or wants to just pat themselves on the back all the time, Don't be that kind of leader. And don't forget, as a leader, when people earn things, right, and they've done them genuinely, right, they went through a process of learning, compliment people. Real leaders are not afraid of complimenting people. We are not afraid of designating leadership assignments. Wherever anybody came up with that, COS or wherever, right? And the administration wants to hold all the power themselves. Wherever that came from, you might as well say that was the toilet of Satanism. Real leaders and teachers would like to see other people accomplished in their knowledge and getting somewhere in life, being somebody, as you might say. Because we already are. As Satanists, we're already more than somebody in the terminology of humanity, guys. We've risen above their herd mentality. That's all the rest of the humans out there that follow that herd mentality. Within Satanism, we don't follow it. And we will not follow a herd mentality on being put out by other Satanists either. Watch out for that in leadership, guys and girls. And plenty of people try to tell you stay away from unity or developing a real satanic community. They're so full of shit, I can smell them a mile away. They want to keep all the power for themselves, for whatever little minuscule thing they're doing, right? Okay. It's great to run out a name of somebody else that was a founder, that's no longer alive and stuff. But, at least leave the things that person, that founder placed in that organization on purpose. Leave those things intact. Don't start changing things. I've seen it all. Let's just say it that way. I've seen it all as a young Satanist. Leadership's a really important thing, okay? And even choosing leaders, okay, or giving authority or giving designated leadership assignments to people, all those things are important. There's a lot of lip service, and unfortunately, the internet, one of the bad pluses or negatives, about the internet is the fact that people can go out there and say they're something. So again, that's a bad thing. I'll give you an example of offline Satanism. Satanic Leadership. And the example is yours truly, me. Me. Now, I was 13 years old, and I was ordained a high priest. Lay Diabolic Company, Brotherhood Satanic Company. I met the grand, went on the grand. This is in the Midwest world. The same year, I became a member of the Order of Demon. So I was not only a high priest in the official status of the high priest of being a high priest of a 60-member covenant. I was also a full member of the Order of Demon, okay, which is from 13 to 21. Boys before they could become or applied for a petition to become a Freemason, entered, passed, and raised as a Freemason. The first thing they did with me, and yes, this was family, so they knew not just the Masonic connections, but they also knew the Brotherhood Satanic connections. Absolutely right. But the first thing that the Order of Demon decided to do was put me in as a ritual drama coach. Okay? And I ended up being the drama coach. Ritual advisor for Order of Demon that same year. First year I was the high priest of Lay Diabolic Company. But what I'm getting at here is offline. They would not have put me in either of those places at 13 years old unless I had already shown, I had already proven before the age of 13 that I had the ritual ability, the occult knowledge that was needed to do these things. And then I became a leader in those areas. So my leadership background spans way back to when I was even a teenager, guys. Okay, my leadership experiences. The rest of them from then on are in our history. I mean, I could go on in the whole thing. This isn't about me, though. I go on the whole fucking thing about all the other things that I've been a leader in. Okay, but what my main point of mentioning that is to tell you all this. That's why the Brotherhood of Satan believes in me enough to have me out here talking as a leader, representing the organization as a leader. Because I have that long experience and history as a leader. So I am qualified. I am a good person to be out here trying to organize things, right? I am an organizer. That's one of the things I do with the Brotherhood. I have many, many different positions, if you want to call them, assignments that I do. So many that I very rarely even say all of them to people. Quite a few. But I've learned and experienced as a leader, right? And a lot of it is basic psychology, human psychology of etiquette with people, too. So you got to take all that stuff, roll that all together, right, with the knowledge of occult, dark occult wisdom and all that, and throw it all together in one big ball. There's truth, right? Okay. But that's what a Satanist leader wants. You want to do, right? And you have a choice when you're a satanic leader, okay? And I'll tell you what that choice is when you come up as a leader at Satanist. You can follow one prescribed method, or say organization's doctrine, right? Or their methodology, or mannerisms and ritual usages, so on and so forth. And you can develop just individual practices you want to on your own, right? That's what I'm getting at here. So then you're just still doing something very, very good because you're actually doing something positive, and that's growing with the satanic community then. Because you're actually contributing then to the knowledge of hypnosis, right? Either as an individual Satanist or as a leader, satanic leader. And yes, even an individual Satanist in Drew's book is a satanic leader, and I'm going to tell you why I say that. If you follow the leadership etiquette that Drew's counseling people with right now, even as an individual Satanist, if you follow like the 48 laws of power, the different things the brother is teaching, it self-empowers you. You're a leader unto yourself. Okay, there we go. Now Drew's trying to get it across to you guys in a kind of a more comprehensible way when I say, guess what? We're all in this together as leaders. There's no competition. There's no duplicating anybody else. There's no even comparison to other people. They're not going to be us. The idea, though, with satanic leadership is be someone that excels, right? Rise above everything. Everything. Like a Lucifer will always shine. Part of a Paul McCartney song. And what that means is no matter what we're doing, as individual Satanists, right, we're always going to shine. Okay. Some of us are going to be more dedicated and in more service to Satan. And that doesn't mean, though, that dedication is more important than somebody else's dedication. Other people can be dedicated to Satan too, and they don't have as much free time to be able to do things. Where the rest of us that actually say are retired like I am now and stuff will actually have more time to be able to do things, right? So their infernal service varies, right? But that doesn't mean you're not in infernal service too. So there's another thing as Satanist leaders we got to understand, right? There's going to be different forms of satanic service. Once you rise above, the other pitfalls of the lower thought forms and shit that are out there to entrap you, right? And from seeing things, as on an individual satanic level. Once you rise above that, then you can start understanding this stuff. Okay. So just as we're individual Satanists, our degree of service is going to be individual. The point is, as long as that Satanist leader is still doing for Satan, still doing for the Brotherhood, still doing for themselves, right, like they're supposed to be doing, not necessarily in the order I just said it even. You can think about yourself because of your family livelihood's important too. Then maybe the brother, or then maybe Satan, then maybe the brother, whichever way. And then you go on from there, right? Okay. But our etiquette online and offline as leaders, matters a lot. Like I said, and I gave you an example earlier of myself as a teenager, of being recognized as a leader before I, knew that's where I was going to be going, actually. I was enjoying learning all the different things I did learn prior to becoming a high priest, and a priest before that. But, it's a long story there. It's my whole life story, basically. But leadership's important, and how you act and how your etiquette is and stuff. Another etiquette or leadership, tip I would give people is when I was talking earlier on the video, when I started saying about, some of us will be on interviews and things like that, take advantage of that and use it as an opportunity, because that's really what it is. Think about it, it's an opportunity. So the words that come out of your mouth can be important and they can be beneficial, okay, and holistic for us, either individually or as an org, whichever way you address things. All that's important. But realize, here's another example. Again, I'm going to have to use myself, but Drew, I haven't written any books on Satanism. Okay. And in Gnostic Knights Templars, I haven't written any books on, the bloodline families related to the Gnostic Templars. Actually, I have one that's coming out. I do have one coming out soon. As far as the esoteric Templars go. And next year I will be writing a book on the Brotherhood. From the inside of the Brotherhood. So that's going to be a fantastic thing. But ask yourself the question. What is it that Drew would have when he's being asked to be on interviews and stuff, and he hasn't authored any books? and I'm not a well-known, movie star. So it has to boil down to something else then. Drew's leadership knowledge and Drew's ability to speak well, oration, right? That's important as a leader. And the probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands, you might as well say, articles that Drew's written and classes that he's taught that, that he doesn't take any credit for or whatever, which has been thousands and thousands and thousands. Okay. Now that basically is another reason that I have come under attention of other satanic leaders. And that's why I am being asked to interview. So what I'm getting at here is about leadership, right? Okay. Now, to be a leader, a satanic leader that's out there who hasn't published any books, and he's not a movie star, and to be asked to be interviewed, you must be being interviewed for a reason, right? That means you have accomplished something. There's people that recognize that you hold knowledge in a certain specific area. Bingo. And you're somebody that's been around for a while. All those factors are that, right? So there's what you want to strive to go toward, your goal to be, and to strive towards as a Satanist. I remember what I said earlier too. Having that goal, that visualization as a Satanist of things that you want to accomplish too, right? And you're trustworthy. Okay. So I've given you some personal examples about why I'm in leadership today, for instance, right? But I'm just trying to give you some added input about experiences that Drew's had in his own life. What made people see Drew in a certain way. What makes people look at Drew as a leader. Because it's going to be that way on an individual level for everybody else too, as you grow into becoming who you really are, right? Present yourself always as who you are. There's nothing wrong with growing into it. More and more knowledge, right? Getting more and more connected with the current. That's actually admirable that you can do that. Okay. And then the other thing is, as you're moving into satanic leadership and stuff, don't be afraid to go to the counselors and the elders and people that do know something, okay? And ask any questions you have. Part of leadership is to ask questions, okay? Part of leadership is to ask those questions. And a good teacher and a good way shower is not going to be afraid to answer your questions. They're not going to get mad about you asking a fucking question. If they do, get rid of that leader. If you don't, I wouldn't listen to anything they say as a teacher, right? Right. Okay. Then the other thing is, as you are out there, there's nothing wrong as a leader, because what we're moving towards is a satanic community. Okay, we want them to be offline, not just online. Okay, but there's much more to the word satanic community, and of course, in community, there's the word unity. Okay, there's so much more as a satanic leader that we all need to be doing. You see me do it at a smaller scale, and I want to do a bigger scale with our promotions website and other things coming up. But don't be afraid to go out there and say, hey, I endorse Michael Ford's books. Just using an example there. Okay, I'm not saying Michael Ford's books are, the Cast Me Out or whatever. Okay. Or Venus Satanis's book. Or Marie Ravensoul's book. Or Kendra Raven's book. Okay. Or any other satanic author out there. Shia Biles, he's got some real good books that are out there right now. And I would 100% endorse. But don't be afraid to do that too. But just make sure those books do have some good informative things that people can get some use out of, right? At least review those books yourself before you give them a good review, right? But that's also part of what word community means, right? we should be 100%, 666% supporting what other Satanists are doing. Now, where the problem comes in there sometimes, we may not agree with the other satanic organization that's putting this material out or the clothing hoof or this or that, right? But we may support what they're doing. You get what I'm saying? Okay. And encourage that. So there's where we have to be a lot more, what Drew would call objective, okay? We're not always going to agree with everything everybody says out there, guys. We're all going to, because we're all individual Satanists, we're all going to have an individual opinion, too. Count on that one. I'm not going to have to knock on wood on that. Every Satanist online knows this. We go through this all the time, right? I'm giving you some ideas, though, on etiquette and how to avoid some of that bullshit from people that you don't have to deal with as a leader, too, though. But that's important, too. Okay? But let nobody tell you how to be a leader, right? Because the first thing is you have to be a leader of your own self. Okay, that's what mastery of life is about as a Satanist. You have to be able to master your life first, right? And then you have to have some stability in your life. You have to develop your knowledge and your wisdom. You have to be practicing the things you learn. You know, all those things are what make you a leader. But one of the things we're really stressing above all is your etiquette and your behavior, okay, and the image that you put out. I think a lot of Satanists, particularly online today, you don't realize the importance of what Drew's saying right here, this statement, which I wanted to end with. If you want people to take you seriously, be serious. Okay? And fooling people, being on their pages for ulterior motives, just wanting to chase the skirts or whatever, don't forget your fucking dedication to Satan first. Okay? And even a step above that, I would have to say, don't forget your dedication to Lilith, the mother of the Brotherhood, for instance. Now, the Brotherhood puts out leadership wisdom all the time. We're constantly saying these things to people, and it's good etiquette and stuff. We're being guided by the demons to say this to the satanic community today, though. There's a reason why Drew's saying this. It's just a thought form pattern we conceived in Drew's mind. He should just talk about this. No. Learn the current. The current is now stronger. Stand with Satan. Time for all of us to be the devil's advocate, not just Drew's at hand. Hail Satan, everybody. Looking forward to next week's Infernal Ministry broadcast, Sinful Sunday broadcast. Next Sinful Sunday broadcast is going to be about the Brotherhood of Darkness, our, you might as well say, our parental sponsor for the Brotherhood of Satan New Generation. And I'm going to be speaking about Brotherhood of Darkness offices that are honored offices, high leadership positions within the Brotherhood. We're discussing those for the very first time on video anywhere. And we're going to keep on keeping on. This is the Brotherhood way. Knowledge used with wisdom is our way. This is the way of the Brotherhood, and it is the way to power. Remember to hail Satan first, then hail yourself. May you live long and prosper. Be with good health and good cheer. So let it be.